We got Chief, we got Zodiac. Ryan, we all here. Hold on. So, I don't remember how long ago I made this video, but let's go. Ooh, what's going on? Maximum Apiary. We here. Already know. I don't remember when I made this video. I can't remember how long I made it ago, but I asked you guys what you thought about Hansung, and it's like kind of like genius prodigy title that he kind of has. Hold on, you see my like crotches over here. All right, there we go. Like so I had you guys answer this, so I'm gonna read the comments now. I never got to them. I mean, I like some of them. I've probably seen some of them, but it's time for me to get to them. So.
A little something like eeny, meeny, right from the beginning. Smoke a little pack, but the pack never timid. Church, but I'm seeing it. Curse when I'm winning. She need a new back. When it's back, I'ma bend it. Slap up some guinea, pass me the hen it. Watch a nigga black slipper yak, I'ma quit it. Swerve in the Benzie, perfume is Fendi. Bob and move fast, real fast like I'm Ricky. That's 'cause I'm pretty, came from the dirt. Showing up a nigga can't handle the work. Ooh, y'all, swing with it first. Young white girl like a ramble.
I'm pretty sure you just DM'd me not too long ago, JVD, but give me a second. I have to do this first. I got to get this done so I can premiere it tomorrow because I'm a little behind on some stuff, and then we can get it. But all right, I'm kind of big. Let's read these comments and see. All right. So, Lexi Power said, "For someone who isn't blessed by Shinsu, my answer is yes." And the reason why I'm asking this question, by the way, just because I honestly am like, I don't know what a genius looks like in Tower of God. Does that make sense? I don't know what a genius looks like. Like, you could say so much talent, so he's such a prodigy and yada yada blah blah. And sometimes I feel like it doesn't correlate with the character. Where I'm like, you're saying he's the genius, but is he? It's like with Neji. Like, oh, Neji's the genius of the Hyuga clan. I'm like, is he? Like, is he that nice? You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to kind of dive into that and see how you guys are feeling about it, because I honestly was thinking for myself during his fight with Haracha, whatever his name is. I honestly, it comes across to me like they were trying to tell me like, yeah, like this is super impressive. He's like, this acid Shinsu black hole he's making is very hard to do. No, I'm like, is it? Like, I'm not that, I'm not that impressed. And then as far as in-tower inhabitants go, they could never do what the regulars could do. And then there's people who are blessed by Shinsu. So it's like, how does it all work? So that's why I wanted to ask it. But that's fair. I think the answer is fair. For someone who isn't blessed by Shinsu, my answer is yes. So that's kind of fair. I think he's highly gifted. I don't know about genius, though. See, because on paper, Hansung is so many things. From an anima to this to that and the other. We saw him flex a little bit during the first season, I think during the last examination. And then we got to see a little bit of his hidden floor version. I was very unimpressed with his showing on the last station. When Sean Hia was about to have him clapped, I'm like, is that it? Is that it? Unless they can throw in 3 dimensions, they're a genius. They got to be doing the most, honestly. I feel that, but I feel you. It's like when mentioned a character is a genius, I wonder if it's combat or just his mind. See, that's a good point though, because I think some people are like they're speaking about him intellectually, because you can kind of look at it this way, right? I always would. I'll drop on my own experiences from sports. I always like a coach that can do what he's asking me to do. So it's like, 2 step overs, 1 touch to the right, kick it, and shoot it top right. But you can't do that. It's hard for me to respect you the same way if you can perform the technique. But that doesn't mean there aren't really good X's and O's coaches who really understand the game of football, soccer. They understand it from a mental standpoint. Really good at X's and O's, good at drawing up plays, really good at reading the game, even though they can't physically do those things. So like Hansung, you kind of in some ways remind me of a person like that, where it's like, in here, theoretically, practically, he's very, very intelligent. He knows a lot of things, but I don't know if he can perform all the things he kind of understands. So it's food for thought. That's what Desmond said. In regards to his intellect, I believe he's a genius. However, I would need to see a bit more with what techniques he's still got hidden up his sleeve. I personally believe Hansung took his mother's last name and is a part of the Hendel-Locke blood matter family, and despises his father for taking immortality in exchange for his offsprings, to be basically cursed with shorter lifespans. That would propel him, in my eyes, by having more potential to be a bigger threat to the jihad forces. Doesn't it? That's interesting. I never really think about who is really a part of the Hendo family to that degree, but that's interesting. Hansung orchestrated the Quattro Blitz March deal. Okay. Most likely one of the greatest business moves in recent millennia. That's fair. That's fair. Hold on. They basically confirmed everything you said in the blog post. Hansung Yu is hiding from Hendo. It's the reason he declined to be a higher ranker and is low key. Hendo probably want to sacrifice him and use his lifespan to increase his immortality. I had forgotten to mention that. I forgot to mention the high ranked info, but that only strengthens the thought. I hope this really comes true. This theory comes true because I want to see what all the families are like. I guess my only pushback on this theory, from how it's presented in the webtoon standpoint, is he's a defender. And the one instance of somebody who was mentioned to be part of the Hendo family or some like long time descendant or lineage, whatever the case was, he was very Shinsu resistant, very tough. Han Sung-yu does not come across to me as a defender type, somebody who's really tough, who can take a lot of hits. You know, like if you told me Calivan was from that family somehow, that would make sense to me. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but that's how I see it. Mario Cat, him being able to use strong Shinshu techniques if he isn't able to use that much, yes. And figuring out Bam with his near impossible capacity to absorb Shinshu to spam technique is an abuse cheat. That is the most complicated idea, but if you think about it, it's really effective. We taught Bam the most useful techniques other than the orb. Yes, as teacher and being practical in fighting on his feet. Yeah, the infinite Shinsu loop thing was highly impressive. That's for sure. Man said Hendo. Yeah, he did. If you're around, Vince, if you want to hop in, you can hop in. I can just hop in Discord if you're not busy. If if you are, it's all good. I have to because I've been thinking because JDB wanted me to talk about whether or not I think one point we were talking about if Van Dorsey was part of the Hendo family. I was thinking about it. I might have to really start to think about this guy a little more often, knowing he doesn't have the immortality contract. Sorry, I'm exhausted. Not a long day. I just finished working not too long ago. All right, I don't know how to say this. It's like he's a theoretical genius, capable of quickly understanding something and find applications, but he can only perform them at an average degree or slightly above. Oh yeah, see that made sense. That made sense to me. Because again, it goes back to the coach thing that I was speaking about earlier. Where you might have okay, so one of my coaches, he's funny because he used to kill me. For some reason, he just didn't miss when he had to demonstrate what he wanted to do. He'd be like, "Naya, I want you to come to the block, like hold it like this, fake right, drop step, and then whatever." Or he'll like turn around, do a fadeaway, and he always my coaches always do this. Wait for the swish and then continue his lesson. And I remember one time one of the other assistant coaches like a hop step. And he bricked the layup, and we started laughing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like sometimes you respect it more if the mind. Oh, hold on. This relates to Cha. If the mind can follow the body follows the mind. Hold on. I'm in my bag right now. Let's get it. Ashley said, "My belief is that he has the understanding and knowledge." Oh wow, like a really tactical coach who can't play that well. I think his mind is brilliant, but he's simply not blessed with innate gifts to perform what he understands. That makes sense to me. Because he's not, I mean, he could be related to a family, but just because of that doesn't mean you're going to inherit all the great traits and genes and lineage that comes across with that family. You might, be your whole family could be tall and you get the recessive genes and you're short. So that's all possible. Never thought about it like that. Logic Slayer said, Hansung Yu has mastered so many techniques and even created the Shinsu loop. Compared to the range of skills others have, he's at the top for variety. Okay. Power-wise, he probably ranks around the top of advanced rankers and the bottom of higher rankers. I base this on him having help against Shanhei and against Hasracha, but he did well, but commented he normally couldn't tank higher ranker attacks. You see, and that's part of the reason why I'm like, Hendo family would be crazy to me if he's part of it. Cause then he didn't inherit all the natural gifts and things that come along with being with that family. So it's food for thought for sure. All right, This is Mr. Genius, my guy. I see him as a genius. That is not only smart but also gifted. Not gifted as in he inherited some power, but more like he understands things better and faster because we saw in his last fight he understood the situation and came up with a plan. He has said himself he can't withstand a direct attack from a high ranker, but I think he makes up for this for his lack in durability with his quick thinking and understanding of people and powers. I personally put him in the leagues just a bit weaker than Karaka in terms of power. Hansung Yu has better quality than quantity of power. Okay. Well said. Sorry. Hansung knows a lot about the tower, the families, and all of the behind-the-scenes stuff, but all of it must mean he would have learned that from someone, somewhere. His connections to Hendo Lock and F.U.G. Is this Hendo thing like is that like a community thing that a lot of people believe? Is there a blog post that I'm not aware of that kind of, well, you know what? I'll get to that another day. I'm gonna look into this anyways myself. It's fine. F.U.G. higher ups mean he would have accumulated knowledge, techniques, and wisdom from all his experiences, so we can call him a genius based on his existing inherited knowledge. I'd argue he would use that knowledge to develop techniques like the black hole or come up with Shinsu loop. Wouldn't necessarily make him a genius too. He can be considered a very intelligent and smart wave controller and ranker, but genius, I'll need to see something more before I can agree with that. That's fair. Also, is it only me that thinks ever since Evankel showed up, Hansung Yu has become backwater, a follower, rather than being how he was before, someone who could do things by himself and act more independently? Yes, I agree with that. But the reason why this is okay to me is because we always knew about their relationship from way before we seen Evankel, when they were still passing the test to become regulars to climb the tower. We already knew the Ivanka Hansung Yu connection, and through time and through learning more about it, we kind of learned what type of man Hansung Yu really is, from the standpoint of he's not actually that dominant in the tower. I have things I want to do, changes I want to make, but I have to scheme, think around it, and maybe use somebody who's stronger than me in order to get those goals realized. So him being under Evankel actually doesn't bother me as much. It doesn't bother me, but I understand what you're saying. Like, it's fine, because if it was anyone else, I'd probably feel type of way. But this was a relationship that was established for some time, to the point where I believe, I don't remember if Aurora was saying this to Kwan, but I believe somebody mentioned the uncompressed state and stuff too. So like, yeah, it's fine. It's okay. They're close. You know, they've been through a lot. So his ability to calmly analyze, engineer the perfect method to neutralize an opponent mid-combat is nothing short of genius. However, I do not believe he is a prodigy. At least not in the context of the tower. In my opinion, most denizens of the tower treat talent as how effectively you can manipulate Shinsu to dominate others. Why I do think he's capable, I don't think he's ever been considered monstrously strong. That's fair. That makes sense to me. 1 second. Yeah. Let's see now. Third smartest character, in my opinion. Gustang, Jihad, and Hansung. Okay. As long as Gustang is first. Jihad. I mean, he's probably intelligent. But okay, you know what? But he's in a regular, like, there's so many moving parts there, but I don't disagree. Not sure which Slayer he serves, but he doing him justice. Hansung and Karaka, top tier F.U.G members. Results over paper stats. Listen, man, I'm a Karaka stan, but I can't even agree with that part. Like, they be doing my guy dirty, son. He not out here putting in the work. No, he's not a genius. I would counter your examples by saying in the Cat Tower, Hansung Yu beat Haracha because Haracha decided to explain most of his abilities in the middle of their fight because he thought he had won. I hate that trope, and that's just Haracha being stupid. As for Bam, giving Bam unlimited Shinsu, that sounds great in theory, but it can't be much of a secret. In the 10 years, I haven't seen a single character run out of Shinsu like White when he burns out of all his souls. You know what, Noah? It's not a bad point at all, actually. I'm thinking about it. Like, I can't necessarily think of an instance where somebody was really like, yo, I'm running out of Shinsu. Shinsu is the world. Shinsu is everywhere. Shinsu is constantly surrounding you. It's not to say that characters don't get tired, fatigued, and worn down through a battle, but seeing Shinsu as a literal finite pool of energy to draw from is not a concept that I really think really exists to that degree. So that's not, you're not wrong. And I would say this: Haracha did kind of explain what he was doing and stuff, but even still, even though he was dumb to say that, if you tell me what's happening and I can immediately be like, oh, see, you told me that you like to go left, cross back over, and do this, and now I can just stop it. You still got to give me credit for stopping it. But I hear that's a good point, Noah. Honestly, I agree with that. There wasn't too many comments, so this won't be long. So I'll stream again later in the day. Because hold on. Shinsu Loop isn't really about unlimited. Shinsu is more about unlimited power. I'm gonna have to look that up again. Young Gambino said, "I think he's a genius, and that he doesn't use his actual Shinsu specialty because it would give away a part of his identity. He doesn't want characters to know." So I guess so. I'm just going to assume that one of the prevailing big theories here is that he is part of the Hendo family. That's something that a lot of people agree with and think, because I've never really thought about it that deeply, especially because of his fighting style. So that is interesting to say the least. But as for like my final conclusion, the best way for me is to kind of like, I have to kind of compartmentalize him. Do I think Hansung Yu is a genius? I think he is highly intelligent amongst in the people who live in the tower, so non-irregulars. I think he's extremely smart. Theoretically, practically, I'm not going to say he's weak, but he's not one of the strongest characters he's seen. It seems to me that Hansung Yu would be a little too old to be part of the Hendo family. He's been around for a while too. The Hansung Yu character to me has been a little jarring at times, where I would argue that he had a very menacing, evil F.U.G, agent type feel, and then it kind of switched up later on. And it feels it's so hard to gauge him, because he's so much on paper is super impressive with him. But I have these moments where I'm like, because I kind of feel Simi when he's like, is that black hole? Was the acid Shinsu black hole really that impressive? And I know it probably is from the control and degree and everything. But hey, man, you got to give credit where credit is due at the end of the day. But all right, I honestly didn't realize there was that little comments. But I'm not gonna drag this out any longer than it needs to be.